We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled it before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials, or the kidnapping plot against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. There is no place in America for this kind of violence, or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized.
Feet away from Donald Trump. When did you realize what was going on?
Caitlin, I guess I was, trying to put him between the flag and the podium and photographing him there. And then when he kind of gestured to his right and I heard the pops, I don't have a gun, so I don't know what an AR-15 sounds like. Never heard one. At first I thought it was like a motorcycle or some sort of machinery. And then when I saw him grab his ear and he kind of winced and then immediately went down, I thought, oh my God, he's been shot. I mean, I get chills saying it now, and there was so much adrenaline going on then. And once he went down, my first reaction was to run around to the side and try and get a picture of him down on the ground. And by that time I got there, he was completely covered by the Secret Service agents that are on his detail. And, all the staff is yelling, the Secret Service is yelling at me, yelling at all the other photographers. There were 4 of us in the buffer zone, as you know. And it was pretty chaotic, and they just kept yelling, get down, active shooter, get down, get down, get down. And I probably didn't do the safest thing because I reacted and went straight to the stage and started shooting, taking pictures, just like a lot of the other photographers.
And could you hear what was happening there?
That audio I had not heard before. I mean, it gives me chills, but I did not hear any. All we heard was the screaming, the woman crying. We heard, I did hear right at the beginning when I got around the corner, I thought I heard him yelling, sir, down, 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 down. And then it was just nothing but get down, active shooter, get down, get down. And then at one point, I started thinking about, okay, is he alive? I was just like, what's going on? They're completely covering him. And then I thought, okay, I've got to get over to the side because I think they're going to take him off the stairs. You and I know how that setup looks, and as many times as we've covered the president, they have to give an exit for him. There has to be an egress. So,
and you take this photo. I mean, this is the photo where in that red circle, that's what appears to be the bullet that ultimately pierced his ear. Did you know that you had that photo?
I had no idea. I mean, when I started looking through my Sony camera to try and transmit him back to the office, the first things I was thinking of is I got to get the pictures of him coming off stage, showing his bloody ear and that defiant fist pump that he gave. Those were the first pictures I sent, and the pool was directed back off the stage. And when the president left in the SUV to go to the hospital, they told us, hey, you guys have all got to move out of here. This is an active crime scene. You've got to move. We got to find a place for you. So they literally took us to the president's hold, the tent, where he normally comes, he's in there before he comes on stage.
Was staff still in there?
Staff was in there. There were a lot of tears in that tent. It was hard to see. A lot of the members of the staff were hugging each other, a lot of tears. A couple of the press people were pretty upset about it.
Doug, you have covered the White House and so many presidents, and you're this brilliant photographer. And I think it's always kind of in the back of your mind when you're covering someone who obviously has a lot of threats against them. Did you ever think that you'd see an attempted assassination?
I never dreamed of it, never thought of it, never, I was very young when Ronald Reagan, the assassination attempt against him happened. And I never even thought that would ever, it was always a possibility, but I always thought it would be not in a secure, what I felt like a secure situation like that, where there was so much security presence. There's police everywhere, whether they're on the roofs or on the ground. You have local police, you have state police, you have police from out of the town, Secret Service. So I never once thought it would happen right in front of me. And I really didn't know that I had that picture into one of the editors after I sent all the first pictures. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I got a text back saying, you won't believe what's on one of your images. And she sent, Jennifer sent it back to me and said, I think we can actually see a bullet. And I said, well, hold on until I get the actual raw image out of my camera
To look.
And so I put it on my laptop, and I was able to, confirm and put away a lot of the conspiracy theories that were going out there, which is, really hard to see.
And it shows why your work is so important, and the other photographers who were there. Doug Mills, thank you.
There is one question I do want to ask, and this is just me using my observation. If you look at all of the maps, and there's quite a few different maps we can study and look at, the line of fire, which is a description they use with regards if anybody has a direct line on the target, why wasn't the line of fire, I don't know, maybe a vicinity of a mile or 2 miles? What is the normal situation? Is it down to resources? When a candidate does a rally or a public appearance, who pays for the protection? Because I'm a Brit from the outside looking in, but there's also a lot of other people that love these questions answered. If you have any knowledge of this in the comment section. So, is there
USA! USA!
required? If you do a private event like a concert or something at a football stadium,
I don't know. We heard gunshots.
For every 100 people.
I don't know. Trump is standing. Trump is
To
standing.
give you another example of the line of fire, so
Guys, just undo the gate.
the
Just
road
lift this left, this right side.
to Trafalgar Square.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
And during any level of important anything that's happening there, you will find
Guys, take the road. Take the road.
armed guards who are, I would say, almost within a total mile.
Nick, Steven, Marvin.
Protected.
Guys, keep running.
So this isn't a situation now for finger pointing. This is just looking at some of the facts that are something which is slightly disappointing.
I believe that much of the rhetoric from the left has escalated to this moment. Just last week, we saw Joe Biden trying to excuse his poor performance at the debate and get that behind him and say, now we need to put Trump in a bullseye.
I'd like to clarify what you just said. Do you believe that President Joe Biden bears any responsibility for what happened today, or does the responsibility for the shooting lie with the shooter?
I do believe that Joe Biden is responsible for the shooting today. Kyle Clark, an innocent supporter of President Trump, someone who loved President Trump and was there exercising their right to support him, lost their life today. Everyone who has called him a fascist, everyone who has called him a threat to democracy, who said that he should be put in a bullseye, as Joe Biden said, they need to have some very deep reflection tonight before another tragedy like this takes place.
As for reflection, this is unquestionably a time of incredibly heated rhetoric. Every prominent voice in American politics might consider the language they use, but Representative Boebert pushed back on the suggestion that she might recalibrate her own language. Have you given any thought to that, about things that you say and how it might contribute to the heated political environment?
Kyle, nothing I have ever said is invited violence. I am not calling for the death of someone. I'm not telling people who follow me to put another political opponent in a bullseye. There is no place for political violence in America. I completely am opposed to that, and I do not condone anyone who would call for any sort of political violence. But I do believe that there is a place to speak truth and to hold those accountable who are causing harm on Americans. And that is not a violent thing. I think Republicans will show up at the ballot box, and that will be our response to today.
I'm going to be really straightforward, honest with you. I'm a little bit lost as to how we talk about Lauren Boebert, because in the current climate, I can't be bothered to be rude, sarcastic, or make jokes about something which we normally would do. I just think for a while we just all need to take a breath, and I'm an outsider looking in, but the assassination attempt on former President Trump is just diabolical. I mean, there's no real, doesn't matter whether you're left or right, it's just diabolical. And I kind of suspected parts of the internet will probably be reacting in a way that you can expect them. They don't like President Biden, they don't like the Democrats, they think everything's to do with the deep state, etc., etc. That's expected. And that part of the internet, they're more than welcome to stay in. But when you have somebody who's a representative, and it's, and they're on not even a cable news station, but an affiliate of NBC, you think, there is something really, really wrong. Lauren Boebert, as I said, there isn't really much we can say about Lauren Boebert that hasn't been said in so many different quarters and probably so more succinctly and more articulately than anything I can say. But one thing that has to go on record is her reaction to the attempted assassination of Trump is just inaccurate, and it is totally wrong and needs to be called out. It's unfortunate that she will never put herself in a position where she is actually debated, how should we say, in an adult way, made to literally stand up to the rhetoric she comes out with, and a lot of the rhetoric she does come out with is very inflammatory. A lot of the rhetoric she does come out with just is not based on facts or truth. It's straightforward lies. Democracy means you get average, you get the best, you get the worst, and you can have somebody who, well, perhaps under normal circumstances, wouldn't pass the first part of any human resources interview. I mean, I don't know. I just tend to think Lauren Boebert is not somebody who would be at the top of the pile of many recruitment agencies. And as you can see, I'm skirting around it because I don't really want to go down the normal lane. It's just, but I would love your reaction to what she said, where she's actually, and it's so inflammatory, and it is so where we shouldn't be right now. Not innuendo, but straightforward blaming President Biden for his rhetoric. Yet she's the same person that's always picking up guns alongside Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's the same person. I mean, her comments towards Dr. Fauci were very incisive. And if we're in a situation where it's going to be, well, only the Democrats and only certain Republicans are going to stand up while other people are able to just say any old nonsense, run with conspiracy theories within seconds of any incident happening, not really looking for facts, just seeing if they can score political points, that's not a shame, that's not sad, that's something that needs to be called out, because that's how we stay in the same position. We have to talk to each other definitely, we have to respect each other definitely, listen to opinions we don't like, but what we shouldn't do is seize any opportunity to leverage our own position when the person doing that leveraging, maybe their education is not suffice to say that, and this is not being patronising, they're not able to read a book from A to Z, they're not able to educate themselves, they're not able to learn details, which allows them to have a conversation that me and you can listen to and say, I agree with that, or I disagree with that, without it needing to be like raised tempers and all of that stuff. Because again, she, along with JD Vance, this is probably no, I'm not going to say it. I really am not, but feel free, comment section.
I'm watching the fake news go crazy because they're saying the Republican Party has